Photograph is a new romantic drama film that is directed by Stella McGee, and it stars Issa Rae, Lakeith Stanfield, Shantae Adams, and Yalan, I can't remember his last name. You are not forgotten, my brother. This is a romance movie that takes place simultaneously in the present while also dealing with the past, but the main part of the story takes place in the present. Issa Rae stars as a curator for a museum, and her mother is a world-famous photographer who recently passed away. While she's getting deeper into her mother's life and trying to figure out the best way to memorialize her, she also develops a connection to a reporter, a journalist, played by Lakeith Stanfield. Stanfield's character is trying to cover her mom and write a story about her, and so he's trying to get into her life too. So the two start hitting it off, and then they fall in love, and this movie is about their romance. At the same time, the movie also peels back the curtain on her mother's life and takes you back in time, shows you another romance that her mother was going through that in a lot of ways strangely mirrors what's going on in the present. I am so happy that this movie did everything that I wanted it to do. This movie is exactly what I was hoping for when I saw the trailers. It's just, this movie is a whole bunch of yes. Before I even get started with the review, I just have to credit this movie, the director, whoever wrote this movie, like everybody that was involved with the movie, all these beautiful black actors and actresses that were involved in the production. Because they made something beautiful and real, and they came together to give us a movie that not only I wanted, but a movie that I needed, and a movie that I think a lot of people in the black community really need. See, when it comes to romance films and dramas and rom-coms or whatever you want to call it, a lot of black people are put in a box. They're put in a position where they have to be a certain type of romance. It has to be a love that's born out of struggle or circumstance or something like that, or the characters within the movie have to be over-exaggerated stereotypes that we see all the time in the media. In this movie, they just kind of allow the story to be. They allow it to be what it is, but they also respect the characters. They take them seriously. I wouldn't even characterize this movie as a rom-com. The movie does have some funny moments in here, but for the most part, this is a movie that takes its story very seriously. It really excels at the drama part of the romance drama, but it also excels at the romance. Happy that we have a film that is portraying this type of black love. This is the type of black love that feels real, it feels beautiful, and it feels necessary. I'm not saying that there isn't a place for that struggle love type of stuff. We just see too much of it, and I'm just glad that now in this movie we have something that's different, refreshing, like it's a breath of fresh air. Gotta single out Lakeith Stanfield and Issa Rae. These are two people that I am a big fan of coming into the movie, but all of that big fan of stuff doesn't mean anything if they ain't got the chemistry to sell these parts. The chemistry jumps off the screen. There's definitely a spark in the air between them whenever they're around. They have great chemistry. It carries most of the movie. The way that they look at each other in some of these scenes, it really feels like kind of that sexual tension that you want to have with your significant other. Not like a sexual tension in the way that they're like, oh my God, I can't wait to sleep with you when I get home or something like that. Although there is a moment in this movie like that, sure. It's more of like that sexual tension of, I don't just want you, I need you, and I need you in my life, and that's the way it comes across. Like, it doesn't just come across as desire, it comes across as a necessity. That's the beautiful type of real love that I've seen in real life, and I like the way that they were able to carry that out on screen. Keith Stanfield in particular, his versatility as an actor stands out, but you also have to look at him and how he's really good at pulling off that seductive face. The guy is able to like look at you and make it feel like he's looking into your soul, and it's just like, I felt like he was undressing me in the audience. I'm like, whoa, 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 can we chill? Like, look at the steam coming off of this dude. Goddamn! Gotta single out the direction and the cinematography as well. One thing I love in movies like this as it relates to the lighting is how it makes black skin look. Black skin is beautiful, and I love the way that the lighting and the cinematography really reflected that. Music in this movie, oh my God, this is such a great soundtrack. There's so many great musical choices. Like, I'm just sitting there in the theater and it's a whole ass bop. I'm just sitting there like, okay, oh, okay. We got Al Green up in here. We got Luther, Big Luther, Big Luther. At the same time, when you look at the musical score composed by Robert Glasper, he was in his bag on this one. This was really good. If there is an underlying theme to take away from the romance in this movie portrayed from the past to the present, it's that sometimes there can be a generational trickle-down effect that can affect people in their lives and their relationships. Something that you don't even really think about. Like, you just kind of go through life and you're with whoever you're with when you're with them, and then it's good or it's bad and then you move on or whatever happens. This movie really does kind of make you look at the past in a way where you look at some of the people that came before you and how they handled their lives and their relationships. You take little things from them and it affects you in your life. And I really like the fact that they showed the impact that generational, not trauma, but generational mistakes or generational character traits can get passed down in a good or a bad way. Your legacy and the things that you accomplish in life are not the biggest things that you leave behind when you leave this earth. Like, there's an underlying message about that too. I know that y'all sitting there thinking like, dude, it's just a romance movie. You shouldn't be looking that deep into it. I'm just like, hey, I like movies like this. It is what it is, and it's simple, and it's something that I can apply to my life and that other people can apply to theirs. As far as issues with the movie, I really just have nitpicks that don't really take away from my enjoyment of the film. I mean, some parts of this movie definitely are cliche. Really more cliche in terms of how the movie is structured. Like, because it's a romance movie, you know that there's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be that point where we get to a point of conflict in the story. Even the way that they handled that in this movie wasn't really that big a deal. Like, it's not like they had a sad music portion of the movie. I would say my bigger issue is the contrast between the past and the present. The story that's being told in the past between her mother and this other person that she's in love with, that story is a little bit more emotionally compelling. It's just something that you can't avoid. Like, when you look at the two arcs of the story within a story in the movie, the story in the past is just a little bit more interesting. It has a little bit more impact. Maybe it's because the story in the present doesn't have that much at stake emotionally. It portrays black love the way I think it needs to be portrayed more often on the big screen. Love the romance and the chemistry between Lakeith and Issa. I would definitely recommend this. After thinking about it, yeah, I think I'm gonna give this one my highest rating of Superman Prime. It's that good. What movie are you most looking forward to seeing this weekend? You got Sonic, you got this movie, you got Fantasy Island. Yeah, just let me know. Like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.